Recording in progress.
Okay, the time is now 3:30, and I hereby call the October 18th, 2022 meeting of the Area Planning Commission to order. Before we begin, I have a few announcements. This meeting is held in person on the fourth floor of the council chambers of the County City Building, and also virtually via Zoom. Video and phone teleconferencing links and phone information are posted on our website at sjcindiana.com. Regarding public comment, I will first ask any public comment for those sitting in chambers, and then auxiliary seating in the building. Once those in person have provided their comments, those calling into the meeting remotely will be given the opportunity to provide public comment. Sign-in sheets for public comment have been removed to prevent everyone touching the same pen. For this reason, please clearly state your name and address. Please do not be surprised if you are asked to spell your name for the record. Your speaking time will not start until after this is done. Now that announcements are over, may we please have the roll call, Shelley?
Mr. Devon,
Present.
Mr. Hawley,
Present.
Mr. Moffett,
Here.
Dr. Thacker,
Present.
Ms. McCombs,
Present.
Mr. McNamara,
Here.
Mr. England,
Here.
Ms. Gendron,
Here.
8 present.
All right, thank you, Shelley. We are a 9-member commission. Currently, we have 8 members present in person. We have a vacancy in one of our seats right now. So we have a full commission today. With that, may we have the reading for petition number 1, please?
Location 62550 State Road 931. Owner Lance D. and Victoria L. Roush. Requested actions, variance number 1, agricultural, from A, agricultural district to C, commercial district. Variance number 1 from section 154.380 sub C 6A to allow a 0-foot setback from a limited access highway where 50 feet is required. Variance number 2 from section 154.380 sub C 8B to allow a 50-foot of radial spacing from a residential use when 100 feet is required. And variance number 3 from section 154.372 sub H3B to allow an electronic message center, EMC, sign which is within 200 feet of a parcel used for residential purposes to be illuminated between the hours of 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. APC application number 2983-22.
This is Kylie Abrams, Area Plant Commission staff. The petitioner is requesting to rezone the existing property from A agricultural to C commercial with the intention to erect an electronic message center billboard on the rear of the property facing US 31. The site is currently mostly wooded and empty lot with a driveway connecting State Road 931 to a single-family home on a separate parcel to the north, as you can see here. Continuing north beyond that is the neighbor's barn and a single-family home. To the west, across from State Road 931, is farmland, Zone A agricultural, and to the south is an undeveloped wooded area and a single-family home, as you can see on this aerial. To the east is the new US 31 highway. Here is a view of the proposed location for the proposed billboard from US 31. Here's looking south on US 31. And beyond US 31, continuing east, is more farmland. The provided site plan shown here shows the proposed billboard sign at the rear of the property facing US 31, as well as the existing driveway and the existing single-family home to the north. There is no existing well or septic on the property. After communicating with INDOT as staff, we have shared preliminary requirements that we heard from INDOT with the petitioner that will need to be satisfied in order to be granted a permit from NDOT. Today is a combined hearing to approve the variances needed for this billboard as proposed and for the rezoning from A to C commercial. As for the variances, if you're not familiar with our state criteria for variances, there are three. The first one is that it will not be injurious to the surrounding community. The second is that it will not affect the area adjacent in an adverse manner. And the third is that there must be existing practical difficulty in the use of the property. For the first requested variance to allow a 0-foot setback when 50 feet is required, this setback would not be injurious as it is normally permitted by NDOT, which we heard from NDOT, provided that the sign does not hang into the right-of-way. But it would be out of character for this corridor of US 31, and also there is no practical difficulty in meeting the 50-foot setback in this case, and therefore we request denial of the first variance. For the second variance to allow a 50-foot radial spacing setback when 100 feet is required, this variance could potentially be injurious to the surrounding community and residences. Even if the sign were to be turned off at 11 p.m. as required, the illumination of this sign in the evening could still be considered a nuisance to the neighbors of this parcel. There is, again, also no practical difficulty in requiring the petitioner to meet this radial setback. And finally, for the third variance, to allow the billboard to be illuminated between the hours of 11 p.m. and 6 a.m., approval of this variance would be injurious to the surrounding community and adjacent properties. Even at a distance, a sign illuminated during these hours could disturb the rural character of this area, as this area is completely dark at night. There is also no practical difficulty in adhering to the illumination standards for billboards in this case. All other billboards in the county are able to meet these development standards, and there is no uniqueness in this particular property preventing the standards from being met. And therefore, we recommend denial of the second and third variances as well. As for the rezoning criteria, staff recommends that this rezoning be sent to County Council with a favorable recommendation. This rezoning is supported by the Comprehensive Plan's Goal 2, encourage the economic development of the county and its municipalities, and it is especially supported by Policy X, cluster future commercial development in commercial area centers along major transportation arteries. This area is also specified as a commercial reserve area on the land use plan, which refers to the commercial development just south of this location, which can be seen on this zoning map. Since this lot has been subdivided into parcels that do not meet the minimum requirements and development standards for the ag district, and since the soils would not be suitable for agricultural production, this lot would best be used as responsibly developed commercial property to enhance this transitioning corridor. And I'll take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions by the staff or commission right now? Otherwise, may we have a presentation by the petitioner, please?
Nathan Flickner, with Lane Feeney, now part of the Whiteman family, 715 South Michigan Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46601. Yes, we're trying to get this zoned commercial, and I believe we can meet the requirements without the variance for the sign placement and the sign hours. Other than that, I think we've got enough room to work around and make something work with the sign placement and the hours of illumination.
Okay. Does that conclude your presentation, Nathan?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions by commission before we go to public comment?
Yeah, I do. In looking at the map, I believe that the HAP tile runs through this property. And they would have to take that into consideration if they want to cross that tile or do anything around that tile. they would have to notify the drainage board.
Understood.
Thank you, John. Is there anyone, we're going to open this up to public comment. Is there anyone here present wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Please come forward and state your name and address. Seeing none. Is there anyone online wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Please use the raise hand feature. Looks like we have one there. Go ahead and unmute yourself and turn your video on, please. Or if that's just a phone. Looks like the number is 574, what is that, 274-9595. Can you unmute yourself?
Hello?
Go ahead. State your name and address, please.
Yeah, this is Terry Lang Feeney and Associates with the Whiteman team. I apologize. I'm down in Southwest Florida right now, and my internet connection died about 15 minutes before the meeting. As Nate had indicated from our office, we can work with the criteria there. Basically, the reason we're looking to rezone this also is since the state highway has relocated around La Paz and the Lakeville area, a lot of the existing billboards that were along the old 31 are basically advertising nothing right now because all of the people are using the new highway. And we're looking to fulfill a need to provide advertising for both La Paz, Lakeville, and businesses located in South Bend. This I know is kind of a first time for this area, but it appears that there is a market for this, and we'd like to be able to take advantage of that and provide the local businesses with the advertising needs that they've had for years past, but since the relocation of the highway, it is now basically gone.
Thank you, Terry. Anything further?
Nothing further on my part.
Okay, thanks, Terry. Is there anybody else online wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Please use the raise hand feature. Seeing none. Is there anyone present wishing to speak against this petition? Please come forward and state your name and address. Again, seeing none. Anyone online wishing to speak against this petition, please use the raise hand feature. Or you can message in the chat. Again, seeing none. We will now close this to the public. Any other further comments or questions by the commissioner staff? Just a reminder, this is a combined public hearing, so we have to vote on we have to vote on I believe the variances first, is that correct? And then the rezoning?
We are consulting the public hearing procedures in our bylaws for combined hearings.
I actually don't see a required order. There's a required order for the motions to be made for the rezoning, but it does not say which one has to be done first.
Okay. Does staff have a preference?
Just to summarize, because we don't always have combined hearings, right? I think we had one in the last couple months for the project out on Oak Road, the irrigation company, but we haven't had one since. So variances, looking at my BCA guys, Bob and Jim, who hear them all the time, right? like Kylie walked through, 3 requirements for state code to be met in order for them to be granted. It's not going to be injurious, it won't adversely impact the surrounding property, and strict application to the terms of the chapter results in a practical difficulty. In this case, the petitioner has said, hey, we can locate the billboard in such a way where we don't need the variances, which is pretty strong justification for the denial. Unless the
Yes.
petitioner would want to withdraw the request for the variances.
I'm guessing we would vote on the rezoning first because the variances mean nothing if the variances are the rezoning, correct?
Are we ready for a motion?
Go ahead and make a motion, John.
I move we send it to the county council with an unfavorable recommendation.
What's that, the variances or the rezoning?
Hmm?
The variances or the rezoning?
The variances are first?
Yes, whatever you want.
They don't
Whatever your
have to be.
motion's- Whatever your motioning.
I move, okay. Well, I don't have a copy of the variances, but I recommend that we deny the variances as recommended by the staff.
So we have one motion for the denial of the variances pending the rezoning.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to deny variances 1, 2, and 3 for APC 2983-22. Yeah, sent to the county council. I know, we vote on this now.
Nope, you're at the end of the
Sorry,
line
we're
for
the
the
end of the line for the
variances.
variances. So we have a motion and a second to deny variances for APC 2983-22. All those in favor, since everybody's here, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Variances are denied. Now, can we have a motion for the rezoning?
It doesn't seem to me to make any sense if we've denied these variances that they can build what they want to build. So they're going to have to come back with something else, I would think.
Well, I think he was saying he could still do the billboard without, with meeting those requirements.
He said he could still accomplish it without the variance.
They still need to rezone it to get the billboard up, but they can still put a billboard up without those variances. My understanding.
It just cannot be set back 0 feet, where 50 is required. It cannot be, if it's electronic, it cannot be illuminated between the hours of 11 and 6, and it has to maintain the setback to the residential use.
Otherwise, it was fine.
Yeah, so they're going to have to change their site plan
Well, it's not.
in order to overcome the denial of the variances.
But we're not approving a site plan. We're just
No, but-
approving a rezoning.
Okay, I'm out. Go ahead.
Right? Am I-
They'll have to submit what's called an application for an improvement location permit.
But our rezoning does not affect the site plan specific where the location is.
Did I make a motion to deny
No.
to send it with an unfavorable recommendation? Is that on the table?
No.
Because if not, I would remove that motion,
So there's no motion on the table. Do we have a motion for the rezoning?
because I made it out of order.
Can I make a motion? No?
Brandy, I believe that John withdraws his motion. Now
He never
Adam
actually
would
made
like
the
to make a motion.
Chair shouldn't make a motion on that.
You never actually made a motion
Oh, okay.
for the rezoning, I don't believe. Staff recommended favorable recommendation for the rezoning.
I'll make a motion.
Correct.
A favorable motion to pass 2983 for the rezoning.
Bob Hawley, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to send APC 298322 with a favorable recommendation on the rezoning to the county council. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor state by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
No.
Let it be noted there's one no. Motion carries. May we have reading petition number 2, please?
Location, unaddressed, 84 plus or minus acre parcel on the east side of State Road 931, south of and abutting 68294 State Road 931. County parcel ID number 019-1008-0132. Owner Bob Feitz. Requested action from A Agricultural District to PUD Plan Unit Development District. APC application number 2981-22.
Good afternoon, this is Sean Klein, Area Plan Commission staff. So this is a petition to rezone the parcel shown there. It's on the east side of 931, this time southwest of Lakeville. The petition is to rezone from A agricultural to planned unit development. The specific planned unit development in this case would allow for therapy, counseling, group events for individuals with various physical, emotional, mental challenges, as well as an event center, cabins, hiking trails, and other recreational uses. Currently on the site, if you look at the western portion at the front, there's some small trees and grasses. When you get over towards the eastern portion, there's some mature deciduous trees. It's fairly heavily wooded there. As you can see, the Walters Ditch does flow through the property. On the western part, it's a tile, and then on the eastern part, it's an open ditch there. There are also some wetlands on the property, mainly in that wooded area, also some small ones towards the south in the more open area to the west. Looking north from the property, there are smaller agriculturally zoned parcels containing single-family homes. To the east, there are cultivated agricultural parcels and wooded parcels. To the south, there are cultivated agricultural parcels, and to the west, there are cultivated agricultural parcels, wooded parcels, and a few smaller ones with single-family homes. Everything in each direction is zoned A agricultural. And this is the site as viewed from 931. The site plan for the proposed development is pretty preliminary at this point. If the rezoning is approved, they'll still have to go through secondary approval with staff and the executive director, where they'll have to work out a final site plan where the improvements will be. But it does show that there'll be a house towards the front of the parcel that will provide group activities, therapy, counseling. And then further back on the parcel towards the south is where the proposed event center would be. And then once you get back once you get towards the north and further to the east, there'll be an agricultural area. And then further to the east in the wooded area is where they're just proposing small cabins and hiking trails. Turning to the criteria for approving a rezoning. Actually, first of all, I did want to mention that the building department states that a fire sprinkler system may be required for some of the proposed buildings on this site. And if that's the case, this would require a fire pump system capable of drawing water from the ground, pressurizing that water, and then directing it towards the fire. The health department points out that the water table on site is high and the soil's not entirely preferable for septic, so it might be challenging to handle the waste that's created on site. And the county surveyor points out that Walters ditch does flow through the site. Therefore, a 75-foot ditch easement must be respected on each side of the ditch. Now turning to the criteria. There's nothing with this proposal that's really adverse to any of the recommendations of the comprehensive plan. And given that they're proposing to more or less preserve the wooded area, it actually promotes Objective A, which is discourage development in environmentally sensitive areas, specifically Objective A Policy 4, which is development should be avoided in areas with important natural habitats, including wetlands and forested areas. Looking at the current conditions, there has been strip residential development in the area north of the proposed rezoning. Other than that, when you look to the east, west, and south, it's mostly larger parcels that do have agricultural uses or are wooded at the moment. Turning to the most desirable use, the most desirable use at this location would be one that is not detrimental to the rural character and in no way is detrimental to the ongoing agricultural use of neighboring parcels. Staff believes that the uses proposed here would not adversely affect those uses. If you look at many of the uses that are proposed, they're actually analogous to a number of uses that would be permitted in agriculture, either as primary, accessory, or special uses. Those include agritourism, private parks, campgrounds, and agricultural uses, of course. Turning to conservation of property values, the petitioner is proposing type 2 screening along neighboring parcels with residential uses that should be adequate to protect those property values. And furthermore, they are proposing very generous setbacks for the buildings. And turning to responsible growth and development, the area is generally appropriate for the proposed uses. However, the future activity of any on the site could be limited by the suitability of the site for wastewater treatment, as well as other limitations posed by the easement for the ditch as well. Therefore, staff recommends that this be sent to the county council with a favorable recommendation, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Sean. Any questions? May we have a presentation by the petitioner, please?
Nathan Flickner, Lang Feeney, now part of the Whiteman family. 715 South Michigan Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46601. I'm sorry, I jumped in front of Terry on this one. Terry, you on?
I think you're waiting for petition 3, actually.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Lane Feeney isn't representing you, right? Okay. That's what
Go
we
right
thought.
ahead then.
I'm Pete Engel. My address is 62154 Oak Road, South Bend, and I'm the president of the board of the ministry that's asking for this. My main thing is that the people that we serve really will benefit from such an environment where they can enjoy nature and enjoy the habitat and everything going on that we would be doing. I just can't imagine them not having such a good time in such an environment such as this. I'm just excited to see that this could happen.
Barb Compa, founder and CEO of Rhyme and Reason. My address is 56909 Wild Heather Drive, South Bend, Indiana, 46619. Yes, as founder, the vision is a big one, but the clients that we serve, as I've been working with them for 15 years, continue to prove over and over again the necessity for this kind of place for them to go. There are other camps in the area, but this property is just perfect for the plans that we have for it, because we do want to preserve nature, but we want to be able to provide a safe place for them to enjoy that. We really like that it's 84 acres and we don't have to do a lot on there in order for us to be able to utilize it. We have the agricultural part of it that we'll definitely keep. That's a small area. Each of the buildings that we plan will not take up a lot of that space. Yes, it will be utilized, hopefully, by the community at large. It will provide employment for those that have challenges and find it difficult to maintain employment, as we will have the therapeutic approach to the, is that my timer? Therapeutic approach. I don't think that's, sorry. I'm not beeping, am I? No. Okay. Yeah, there will be the therapeutic approach to all of those services that we will provide in activities out there. We will have staff that are trained to be able to provide adequate care and support for the individuals that are there. Any questions for me on that part of it, as far as the activity that will be taking place, the therapeutic activity? That's my specialty.
Thank you.
Okay.
My name is Bob Feitz. I purchased that farm many years ago. We farmed it for some years, and because of drainage issues and springs and so forth, it was a problem area. We planted 22,700 trees with 9 different species of hardwoods through a federal program and a state forester, and with the thanks of John in setting up classified forest, classified wildlife habitat. I had many opportunities to sell it, but this was what I considered the best fit of all the different opportunities. There's some ideal places there for some ponds or private lakes that'll have a good water supply. I think it's an ideal fit for our community. The town board is very excited. The community is excited. I've been there 86 years. And the community is very excited about this group coming into our community and providing some services that are really needed in St. Joe County. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I can just add one more thing about the community involvement. One of our goals is to invite those in the community to work and teach and mentor the individuals that we serve. And so we feel that this property provides that opportunity where it's located. It's perfect, related to other counties in the area, but also just in St. Joe County. And it's out of the city of South Bend, which seems to be constrictive and limiting to what we want to do. But we envision that we'll be able to attract people from other areas that will bring them to Lakeville. And I think that's going to be good for the economy there as well.
Thank you, Barb. Do we have any questions?
Yeah. I'm in favor of what you want to do. I have some great concerns with the Walters tile that runs through your property, Mr. Feitz's property. I don't know in what relationship the house and the event center and the gazebo have to the tile, because I haven't been given any kind of an overlay. So that's my great concern, is what effect are you going to have on that particular drainage system? And I know you can't answer it.
I can't.
And I don't think Mr. Feitz can either.
Right.
But before you can proceed with any kind of development, you've got to have something submitted to the drainage board that would show the relationship between the existing tile, as you can see, that runs right through the middle of the property, and the house and the event center and the gazebo and the farmyard, that type, the buildings, basically. And if you're gonna cross it with roads, you've got to have crossings permission.
Right.
So that's my concern is not what you want to do with the property. My concern is that we make sure that the drainage that flows from the other side of 31 across that property over to the lake is maintained.
Yep,
Okay.
totally agree.
Thank you, John. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Please come forward and state your name and address.
My name is Mike Godfrey, 68294 State Road 931, which the post office hasn't told me that yet, but in any case. I own the property on the northwest corner of the property they're talking about. And I am a veteran, and it's my understanding that some of this is, or all of it or whatever, is to benefit the veterans. And my only concerns are, I know he spoke about screening. I'm assuming he was talking about fencing, you know, because there would be strangers in my property borders it. And then they talk about drainage in the ditch. I know Mr. McNamara's concerned about the ditch. I have two concerns about the drainage. As of a couple of years ago, I ended up with a foot of water on the back part of my property because the drain tile going through this property was plugged up. And it took 2 years to go away with me pumping it out. Now, I happened to pump it on a different part of that property, and it went away. But also, the property north of me is 30 to 40 acres. All those properties also drain through the tile that goes through my property. The other concern about the drainage is I have had the drain tile in front of my property, in front of my house, twice has collapsed and had sinkholes out there. And the last time the state come in, they came in and replaced some of the tile, which the first time they just patched it. But in any case, the state has never cleaned out the ditch in front of part of my property and their property. So at the south end of my driveway, there's a hole that the state has come and dug, and water collects there. The dirt that has come through when the tile broke has built up a dam, so that part of the ditch does not drain out anymore, whereas used to be able to take and run a mower across there. I can no longer do that, so now I have a bunch of cattails out there. So that's something that I think needs to be addressed. And I don't know the term of what the rezoning would be. I'm assuming that this parcel would stay as one parcel. It's not going to be divided up and other things done with it. And I guess those are my comments about it. Oh, the other thing is, I don't, and unfortunately, I haven't talked to the people that want to do this. We've never been able to get together. But in any case, are there going to be people there, I mean, other than staff, all 24 hours? Or is it just going to be a 6 to 6 or whatever hours? I don't know that. You know, I wouldn't be thrilled with having a lot of people there that's going to be there all night partying or whatever. So those are my comments.
Just to clarify, sir, are you in favor of this development then, or are you on, right now we're asking for people that's in favor of it? It sounded like you had some
Under
concerns.
the right
so-
circumstances, I'm in favor of it.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that, so. Thank you. Is anybody else present wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Please come forward and state your name and address. Seeing none. Is there anyone online wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Please use the raise hand feature. Seeing none. Is there anyone present wishing to speak against this petition? Please come forward and state your name and address. Again, seeing none. Anyone online wishing to speak against this petition? Please use raise hand feature. Seeing none. It was favorable, but we still had a few concerns. I don't know if the petitioner wants to answer any of those questions or comments before there's any motion.
I am very ignorant on the drainage issue, but that will definitely be something that we will do our research and make sure that we're handling that properly, because really the goal is to maintain as much of the beauty of the property and the natural conditions as possible, so that we can enjoy it that way. As far as overnight, just to address that question, periodically in the cabins, there may be some overnights, but that's, you know, it wouldn't be a large group. We may have some overnight retreats in the house, which would be to the north side of the property by your home. But then again, it's not a large group. You know, we would have a small retreat group there. The event center, definitely not overnight. That's just for the evening use or day use for those activities. So there would not be a lot of overnight activity. Periodically, smaller groups. And then the group, most of it would be during the day in the daylight hours. There would be some evening, you know, activities, but nothing that would go late over, you know. Any other questions?
And I just want to address Mike's concern that we certainly would love to meet with you and chat a little bit more and answer any questions that you would have. Our goals are to ensure that everybody around the property is comfortable with what we're doing.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions by the commission or staff? Otherwise, may we have a motion?
I make a motion that we recommend a favorable recommendation for 2981-22.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
A motion is second to send APC 2981-22 with a favorable recommendation to the, is this county council or is this town of?
County Council.
This is county council. With county council, with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have a reading petition number 3, please.
Location unaddressed, 4 plus or minus acre parcel located on the north side of Jackson Road, approximately 730 feet east of 14387 Jackson Road, county parcel ID number 014-1031-052707. Owner Donald and Sue Weaver. Requested action from R Single Family District to C Commercial District. APC application number 2990-22.
This is Carl Brown Grimm, Area Plan Commission staff. The petitioner is requesting to rezone the existing property from R Single Family to C Commercial. The current use is approximately a 4-acre agricultural field. The rezoning will allow for the construction of a proposed 9,600 square foot building to house a use consistent with the C commercial district. To the north of the property is the St. Joseph Valley Parkway, or US 20 bypass, and beyond that, a private business zone C commercial. To the east is another agricultural field, zone C commercial. This property was rezoned to commercial in 2007 with a written commitment to not develop the land until municipal sewer service has been extended to the site. This site remains undeveloped to this day, as public sewer has yet to be provided to the area, and you can see that on the picture here. To the west is more agricultural fields, and a single-family home can be found 3 parcels or approximately 730 feet to the west. To the south is the Elm Road Medical Complex Zone PUD, and also a John Deere dealership, Zone C Commercial. This is the site of the property to be rezoned. Looking west on Jackson Road, where you can see the single-family residential home. Looking east on Jackson Road, where you can see the vacant field zone commercial and the John Deere dealership, also zone commercial. And then across Jackson Road, where the Elm Road Medical PUD is. The site plan shows a proposed 1-story building with new asphalt parking and a retention area where the agricultural field is currently sitting. Per the health department, and as evidenced by the lot directly to the east, the petitioner will have to have a way to deal with on-site waste disposal. This site is part of Weaver's Elm Road subdivision, Lot 2. Per note 7 on the plat of this subdivision, all of Lot 2, which is the one proposed to be rezoned, contains soils that are not suitable for conventional septic systems. As previously mentioned, there is no municipal sewer system, and in past rezonings in the area, the city of Mishawaka has indicated that they are not currently willing to extend service to this area. Based on the information to staff available prior to the public hearing, staff recommends that this petition be sent to the county council with a favorable recommendation. While the challenges to development with regards to utilities have been noted, it is responsible development to encourage commercial use near major arterial roads and existing non-residential uses. Additionally, this rezoning is supported by the 2003 Capitol Avenue Land Use Plan, which highlights this area as targeted for light industrial with integrated commercial growth. The 2002 Comprehensive Plan also supports commercial development near major arterial transportation routes, especially at intersections. Given that this site is located near the intersection of the southern terminus of Capitol Avenue and US 20 bypass, and the existing non-residential character of the surrounding area, staff therefore recommends that this petition be forwarded to the county council with a favorable recommendation. And I will take any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Is it APC's duty to identify the written commitments for that with the sewers, or is that get put on the health department, when they go to, are we allowed to?
You can, staff can recommend commitments for the area plan to recommend to the council. The council can assign commitments on the floor as well.
There's already commitments on the property, correct?
On the property immediately east and adjacent.
Oh, not this particular property.
Correct.
I
That,
misunderstood.
Carl, what date was the parcel immediately east and adjacent rezoned?
It was in 2007,
Okay.
I believe.
So
yeah.
it wasn't this particular, I was confused.
No.
Okay.
We just give you that for context
Right.
because we had a situation with a similar property that was rezoned, subject to that commitment, and it has yet to be developed.
Okay. I misunderstood. Okay. Any other questions before we have the petition? May we have the petitioner, please?
Nathan Flickner, Lang Feeney, now part of the Whiteman family, 715 South Michigan Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46601. And as the staff said, the property immediately east is zoned commercial. The only one that's not is immediately west, which is now just an agricultural field. And then across the street is the PUD for South Bend Orthopedics. I don't see an issue with making this into a commercial property. As far as the septic and soils, we'll have to look into that a little deeper and figure out how we can get waste either to it or contain it on site. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions before we go to public comment? Otherwise, is there anybody in person wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Seeing none. Is there anyone online wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Please use the raise hand feature. Again, seeing none. Anyone in person wishing to speak against this petition, please come forward and state your name. Seeing none. Anyone online wishing to speak against this petition, please use the raise hand feature. Again, seeing none. Any comments, questions by commissioner staff? Otherwise, do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we send APC number 299022 with a favorable recommendation to the county council.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to send APC 2990-22 to the county council with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor state by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We do have an item not requiring public hearing. Abby, go ahead.
See, Adam, I promised I would give you a side-by-side comparison of what we have and what we are proposing. All right. Geez, Sean. All right. So, folks, we've talked with you in the last couple months about the IUC overlay that we are working on. That is an overlay district that will have enhanced architectural, site design, environmental standards for the IUC core development area. After working with legal counsel Brandy Ecker here, we've been advised, and in our research, that we will effectively need to rezone every parcel within the core development area to IUC overlay. Liz is excited because she wasn't here for the first few rounds of IUC rezonings, but I know a number of you were. So as I said when we introduced the overlay a few months ago, really we have nowhere to go but up, folks, in terms of our current industrial standards and what we're proposing. This is a vast improvement from our current industrial district. However, noticing is going to be, it's going to be an undertaking because there's approximately 208 parcels within the core development area. And under our current bylaws, we would publish our legal notice like we would any other rezoning. We define interested parties as property owners within 660 feet of the boundaries of each individual parcel, like the property, and we post signs on property in question, and our bylaw state number to be determined by staff. For 208 parcels and a large swath of land proposed to be rezoned, this is going to be a really onerous legal process. So in researching state code and talking with colleagues from around the state, we're asking you to revise the bylaws to allow us to publish notice in the local paper. This will be a map. It'll look kind of like this, with a list of parcels proposed to be rezoned. We're asking for an amendment to the bylaws for more than 50 parcels to define interested parties as property owners within 660 feet from the outermost affected parcels. So rather than going parcel 660, parcel 660, parcel 660, we'll go 660 out from the outer edge. And then we are proposing signs to be posted on the outer intersections of the affected parcels rather than posting a sign on every property that would be like under contiguous ownership, because that would be a lot of signs. Whoops. This is an amendment, whoops, sorry, to, Shelley, are you? Okay, sorry. Can you just click on that? All right. So this is an amendment to the bylaws that would allow us to do the legal notice necessary. How did you guys get it to stop?
So if we blink hard and fast enough, that's it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Abby, you're not allowed to touch it.
All right, so
Continue.
I don't know how they do it. So this is an amendment to the bylaws to allow us to do the legal notice to bring these rezonings to you for the November meeting. In addition to the revisions to the bylaws, Brandy has also made me aware that we need to ask you for a waiver from the bylaws, a suspension of the rules, to allow us to revise the bylaws today, rather than present the changes to you today to be adopted at the meeting in next month. I will just pause and ask if there's any questions, because I know that I threw a lot at you. So if you have any questions, happy to answer them.
So we have two requests. One, to have a waiver of the bylaw changes.
Right, specifically, it would be to suspend the last sentence of Article 16, because it currently says any proposed amendment has to be presented in written form at one meeting and acted upon at the next regular meeting. So that would be the specific rule to be suspended.
So we need a motion for that?
That would need a
for the
motion
waiver of
and
the
a
bylaw
second and a
change.
vote in order to put that suspension into effect.
I make a motion that we put the suspension for section 16,
Article 16, the last sentence.
16, the last sentence.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to waive
To
Do-
suspend the last
suspend the
sentence
last
of
sentence of the
Article
bu-
16.
what she said. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now we need a motion for the bylaw change, correct?
Yeah, if you have any questions, we can answer them, but if you're ready to do it, yeah, it would just be a motion to,
This is just for notices.
yeah.
for
And
large,
it's,
multiple
in general,
parcels.
it's not just applied to the IEC. If a situation that were similar in the future that would require the rezoning or that would affect more than 50 parcels, period, you wouldn't have to do this again. It would already be in there.
I motion that we accept the proposed bylaw change as written.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second to approve the bylaw changes as presented. All those in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. May we have the executive director's report?
Just that we are chugging along on the comprehensive plan working groups. What are we, folks? 4, 5 meetings in of our 4 complete of our 6 meeting working groups. A number of you participate in those. Thank you for your effort in that. Once we conclude the working groups, all of the work within each of the 8 working groups will be forwarded to the task force, which Adam serves on, and it will be up to the task force to help put it all together and ensure that a lot of the recommendations coming out of each of the 8 groups are consistent and work with one another. And then I had just put a blurb about where we are with the IEC overlay, but now you all know, since you approved the bylaws changes, we anticipate bringing 4 petitions related to that effort to you next month. 2 rezonings, 1 for the town, 1 for the county, and then 2 text amendments, again, 1 for the town and 1 for the county.
So we're rezoning all those properties next month, is that my understanding? So does that have to be presented as individual property owners?
My
Are we
understanding.
gonna have 8 whatever property owners, or we're gonna have that many individual motions?
I believe the petition's coming from
The area.
the Area Plan Commission. So the petitioner would be, who's going to represent the petitions?
We will.
then I don't think they would have to all be done individually. They would all be done in one petition. Now, I expect you probably, if people are opposed or something, the remonstrators and speakers during the public portion could be quite numerous, but the actual proposals, I don't think would require separate hearings. I would say you definitely want to make sure that as part of their comments, they specify which parcel they're concerned with.
Okay. So be prepared next month for those.
Dinner here.
Who's ordering pizza?
Right.
So most of the land that is concerned is already zoned industrial. These are bringing additional standards beyond what our existing industrial district has.
So are we voting on the standards next month, or are we voting on the rezoning, or both?
Both.
Okay.
You're voting on the text amendment
Okay.
and rezoning, adding the overlay as a text amendment, and then rezoning all of the parcels to the overlay.
Are we doing the text amendment first? Yeah. Okay.
With your board, it doesn't matter quite as much the order as it will at the county council level, but I would recommend that you do it the same way, which would be the text amendments and then the overlay.
Right.
And then at the county council level, they'll definitely have to do it
Okay.
that direction.
Thanks for the great news, Abby.
You're welcome.
I think we're all sick or have other commitments next month.
Are you done?
Yes.
Good. Careful, Brandy. I approve the minutes of September, I have moved, we approve the minutes of September 20th, 2022.
Second that.
The motion is second for the minutes, September 20th, 2022. All those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I move we adjourn.
We got a motion, second to adjourn. All those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Are you done?
Shelley, do you have?
Yeah, I'll call. Unless he's out there.